Namaste and good morning. This morning I wanted to speak a little bit about a subject that I get questions on quite a bit. Excuse me, little dog. And this is about the mind stills, the mind dies. And I think there's such a misconception in what happens with that. This is such a great fear for people. And the projection they have is that if the mind stills, if there are no thoughts, revolving thoughts, then I'm not going to be able to use the mind, and somehow they'll be in some sort of a, I don't know if they think it's going to be some sort of a fog they're living in, or a dullness, or a, what exactly the projection is, I'm not sure. That, oh, I won't be able to take care of myself, and it all comes down to this level of fear of I'm going to lose something. I'm going to lose something of value. And this is such the furthest thing from the truth of what takes place. Yes, the mind stills. Yes, there are no more revolving thoughts. Yes, it is just quiet. No obstruction. Okay. So, really, nothing is lost but this angst of mind that occludes true consciousness. Okay. So recently I came across a study that the scientists have just found, and so I wanted to speak a little bit about this and hopefully alleviate some angst that people have around this subject, and that is that the mind has already put into action what is going to take place before it becomes a thought, before one becomes aware of it. The subconscious has already made the choice before one is consciously aware of it. Okay? And so this has been proven in the brain. They've studied the brain. Now the brain is like a computer. What programs the brain? It's consciousness. Okay? That's all. Consciousness programs the brain. And there's also, things that can happen in life. Like if you've watched any of the shows of the people that have died and come back to life, and they talk about their experiences while they're quote-unquote dead, that the consciousness is not contained in the body. That the consciousness, when the body has been, mangled or whatever, they leave the body. The consciousness is above the body. The consciousness has left the body. So again, don't think that the brain is containing that consciousness, that it is the creator of it. The body is not the creator of consciousness. Okay, the body is like a computer that one uses, and when one leaves the building or one walks away from the computer, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden one is dull. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, so really nothing is lost. Even look at this, even in your own lives, when you're really trying to figure something out. Isn't it, when you've had all these thoughts going, isn't it when you finally hit that moment of quiet and a moment of stillness, and you forget to think about it, that the answer pops in. Miraculously, you've given that space and that quiet for a moment, and the answer just pops in. Okay? So this, again, is sort of how it works when the mind is still. And there is not this revolving thought drama. In that stillness is when it comes up. So this is why they say that here it happens, everything happens spontaneously. There is no trying to have to go into a mind and ruminate and trying to look through it to find something. It's just there immediately. Is one hearing a thought? No, not really. Okay, not really. There's not hearing of thoughts any longer. Does it mean, again, that one's in a fog? Absolutely not. So I just want to try to allay these fears, that people have. Again, they think they're going to lose and become some automaton or a robot or something. And again, that's not the truth of it. Absolutely not. The subconscious, and there is something even prior to that subconscious, that direct consciousness, and that is what programs the brain. So what ego becomes aware of these things after brain has processed it. Okay, then ego becomes aware and thinks it has made, through this thinking process, made these choices. But it's already been prior to that. And even prior to that, brain is direct consciousness. Okay? So nothing is lost, nothing is lost, nothing is lost. Okay? What happens is that field is open and no longer has this clutter of garbage that one has to filter through to try to find an answer. So I want to just, sit here for a moment. And just say that when these thoughts fall and when they subside and when they are no more, there is just such a calm, such a peace, such a stillness. And all rises within that stillness and then subsides within that stillness. So 99.9% of the time there are no thoughts that remain. And whatever thought that may arise, which is very infrequently, it's more like an impression, not a full-blown thought. It's not something that comes up and one hears and it's there and it's occluding anything. Okay. So I just want to try to allay these fears that nothing is lost. When one is in the process and the mind begins to still, then one thinks, oh, I can't think, and I'm going to, all this drama and fear starts rising. And I understand that, having gone through that part. And for a while, one at that point uses these, what do you call them, the notebook things, and it becomes your portable brain for a time, because you're in that fear mode of oh my God, what am I going to do? Okay. But I assure you, really, in the end, nothing is lost. But when as in the process of stilling, one goes through this great anxiety about it. Okay. But when it truly all falls away, really, what needs to happen happens. What needs to be known is known. One's not in a fog. I'll make that perfectly clear again. One is not in a fog. One is not in a robotic state. There is just no occlusion of direct consciousness. There does not need to be the clutter of an internal conversation for something to happen. So this is very, very difficult to try to explain to one that is in revolving mind all the time, because they're so identified with this mind play. And yes, this mind play, one takes it to be the me, the self, this, and this is the fear. Oh, if I lose the mind play, I'll lose myself. I won't exist. Maybe I want a quieter mind, but I don't want to lose the mind because I'm going to lose who I am. I'm going to lose my ability to be me. Okay. What is this me that one is so afraid to lose? Find out what one truly is. It's not this construct of mind play. It's not this prior drama and the future projections. It's none of that. Find out what one is in that stillness. Be still and know. Be still and know. So when one is fighting that, against that, how is there going to be progress? When one is always chasing the occlusion, then how can clarity come? If you stir the muddy waters and you continue to stir it, how is clarity going to come? No, it has to still, it has to quiet, and then the mud settles. And then there's a clear pool. And then one can see directly. But as long as you're in this entertaining of I have to keep it stirred up, okay, maybe a little quiet, then one is really defeating oneself on the journey to realization. So with this being said, I just want to say, please, don't fear the quiet. Don't fear the unknown. Don't fear the space. For it's in that space that the grace arrives. Okay. And when these mind, all these thoughts fall, and they're gone, and these occlusions arise no more, one can't even go back to imagine what it was like to be in that revolving mind, except to say it was a hell realm. It was truly a hell realm. Of disappointment, of angst, of trepidation, of fear, of hope. A hope is something that one, again, hopes to find. It's not there. But when it's absolutely all this stuff falls, all this drama falls, what remains is that which is whole, has always been whole, has always been complete, has always been that perfection that underlies this seeming imperfection of mental spin. So what is there to fear in allowing that seeming imperfection, that mental spin, that drama to go and to be at an end and to be done? So I just say, if you want to know more about this, read Ramana, please. And I say, don't take my word for it. Don't take the word of it here. Find out for yourself. Do the journey. Prove it right or prove it wrong. In any way. The proof is in the pudding. You have to eat it. You have to taste it. You have to find the sweetness of it yourself. And just know that when you're in the midst of the journey and things start to still and you start to freak out about it, continue forward, because that freaking out mode that happens when things begin to still and one goes into panic mode, when that end of the journey is done and it's all truly deconstructed, then one is just in relief. It's just relief. And it's not something that one would ever choose to go back to within that mind spin of duality and drama and confusion and illusion and delusion. That clarity, that expansiveness, that wonder, that mystery is what replaces the mental spin and the drama of me, my, I. Be willing to let go and challenge that me, my, I. Be willing to challenge that fear. To what does that fear arise? It's not to the absolute. Where does that fear arise? Does it not arise in the thought? Does it not arise in the thought and then it's felt by the body as this adrenaline rush and this trepidation? So stop. Sit with these things. Look deeper. Let it give it its best shot. Okay? Come on at me with your best shot. And sit through it. And look deeper than it. That is what is prior to it. Because unless you're willing to sit, unless you're willing to challenge it, you will continue to run from it. You will continue to try to manufacture something to cover it over. You'll continue to hold to hope and conjecture on ideology and belief systems. And all of the belief systems have to fall. All of the dogmas, all of the drama, all of it has to go to find out what is that one unchanging essence that is life, the one without a second, that beauty, that absolute wholeness that has always been and will always be the only one eternal self. And this is what one is. This is what one truly is. So namaste. Have a wonderful New Year's. And I thank you all for taking this time to watch this satsang video. Namaste.